Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Soto here with the Windbags, back with another one just for you. Okay, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff happening. We have multi-time All-Pros and Pro Bowlers being traded for what seemingly is not a lot of stuff. We'll make sense of a lot of that stuff. We'll do our own couple things, and we'll do another mock draft. A lot of stuff to get to today. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. First and foremost, I want to make sure, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody about the autumn windbags. Doesn't take much. Just, I don't know. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whatever, just let me know. Right? I always like hearing from you. I like interacting with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I like, if you don't like something, tell me why. If you like something, tell me why. If you come at me with this sucks, yeah, I'm gonna bury you, right? If you tell me why you don't like something, if you tell me why, okay, yeah, we can go back and forth, and we can each walk away with our opinions and continue as friends because you guys are all my friends. Whether you're on my side, whether you're on RJ's side, I don't know why you'd be on RJ's side, but some people are. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, hit that notification button. That way you get to hear me go live, which I'm going to try to do more often. I've done a couple of weeks, a couple of times this week already. I'm going to keep that going. Just make sure I just get my homework done. I don't like mailing shit in. I like making sure I have a little bit of background on stuff that I'm talking about. So that's out of the way. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Deron Payne resigned, but he was already franchise tagged, dude. We already knew he was going to resign. He wasn't going to be a part of our plans anyway. All right, here we go. This is what we're going to do. I'm gonna pin this in the comment section, or I'm gonna put it in the comment section. There was an article written for Sportsnot at sportsnot.com by Mo Moten. Mo Moten, I follow him on Twitter. I think he's a good follow. Hopefully, I'm trying to see if I can get him on the podcast, but he's a cool dude. I like his stuff. And he wrote free agents that the Raiders should go after. But one thing that I liked about what he said was he put them in tiers. There's top tier, middle tier, bottom tier. Not so much of a player themselves, but because of their situation, price-wise, top tier, middle tier, bottom tier. And I thought to myself, you know what? I know of a game that I can play that can see what we could do to get some of these free agents, because we would love to say, you know what, unlimited money, get all the top end free agents you want. Like I even say sometimes, studs and duds, right? Go after the big fish. But you know what? It doesn't always work that way. Your cap doesn't always work that way. You have to keep yourself flexible for the future. You can't just, do what freaking Gruyak did and just kill our cap and just, you have to be smart about things. So you do need to get the top end guys, but you also need to get some middle end guys, and you need to get some guys that are maybe still productive, still can fit a role on your team, but maybe not as expensive for one reason or the other. Now, the reason why I say we should do this is because it does obviously go hand in hand, right? The free agency period and the draft. So we don't necessarily need to fill a lot of the same holes in the draft because you filled them in free agency, and vice versa, right? Okay. So there were 15 players, and there's 3 levels. So this is what I did. All right, everyone. I said, okay, I'm going to give myself $5. Okay. The top tier, each player is worth $2. The middle tier, each player is worth $1. And the bottom tier, each player is worth 50 cents. But I can only give myself $5. Right? Because I only have a limited amount of money to spend, either because I want to keep my flexibility in the future, cap space now, signing my draft picks. I'm going to have a lot of draft picks this year. So this is what I'm going to do. Again, top tier, $2. Middle tier is worth $1. Bottom tier is worth 50 cents. Okay, so what we're going to do is let me name you who's in the top tier, right? So the top tier. Here we go. Free agency game. Let's play a game. I hope you guys saw the thumbnail, like the picture on it. I don't know. I'm getting a little creative with the Photoshop. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Okay, the top tier, $2. Top tier. Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle for Philadelphia. Jermaine Pratt, linebacker from Cincinnati. CJ Gardner-Johnson, defensive back. Jamel Dean, cornerback. That's the $2 level. Okay. And also there's Jesse Bates III, the safety from Cincinnati. That's 5 of them. Yeah, there's 5 players. So we got Javon Hargrave, Jermaine Pratt, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jamel Dean, Jesse Bates III. Those are the $2 level. Okay. All right. Moving on to the $1 level. We got Jimmy G, quarterback. Isaiah Wynn, guard or tackle. He's played left guard and left tackle both. Dalton Reiser, he's a guard. Dalvin Tomlinson, he's a tackle, defensive tackle. And James Bradbury, he's a corner. Okay. So Jimmy G, Isaiah Wynn, Dalton Reiser, Dalvin Tomlinson, and James Bradbury. That's the $1 range. Okay. Then you have your 50-cent range. Those are quarterback Baker Mayfield, Cameron Fleming's a tackle. You have David Long, a linebacker. Landon Roberts, who's also a linebacker. And Adrian Amos is a safety from Green Bay. So those are your levels. Okay. Now remember, you only got $5. You can get a couple of the guys on the top, but that means you only got $1 left. What are you going to do? Right. So a lot of stuff on here. Let's see what we got here. Bates, CJ, GJ, Hargrove, Jimmy. You can't do that's $7. You can't do that. That's $7. That's $7. That's too much. You only got $5. Okay. Let's see. This is what I did. All right. Now, there's a lot of players out there. What I'm working off is the Mo Moten article that he wrote about 15 players the Raiders should target in free agency. All right. There's a lot of players out there, but I'm working off of this list. Okay. So here's what I did. First, out of the $2 level, I selected Jesse Bates III, safety from Cincinnati. This falls in line with what I want to do. Again, if he doesn't fit your mold, if this player does not fit your template of what you're looking for, he better walk on water, right? Jesse Bates III fits the template. He's young and he's highly productive, okay? That's what we're looking for, because what did Ziegler say? Because I'm looking at this as what kind of a halfway, what would I do? Also, what do I think we're going to do? Because of what I'm hearing. I'm hearing build for the future, build long term. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking, right? In my head. So what does that mean? If we're going to get free agents, they're either going to be a long-term sign or they're going to be a high-impact sign for the short term if they're a little bit older. This fits the bill on 2 levels. Jesse Bates III is 26 years old right now. He's a young player, and he's highly productive. That's what we're looking for, especially in our secondary, okay? We have problems in the secondary. We went with Daron Harmon last year, and he played really well for us. He was very cheap, but he played really well. But he's, I think he was 32 last year, going to be 33, a little bit older. He was productive, but I mean, the drop-off is going to be steep in later on in the career. So get a young guy out there, highly productive, used to winning, from winning towards the end, a winning culture in Cincinnati, knows what it takes to win, played well in big games. Excuse me. So that is my $2 pick. So $2 gone. I have $3 left. Okay. All right. Everyone's still with me, right? Okay. Out of the $1 level, I selected Dalvin Tomlinson at defensive tackle and James Bradberry at corner. Okay. Dalvin Tomlinson, he's 29. He's not super young. This is going to be his second contract, right? Second big contract. So his rookie deal, and now his second. He got a second deal. Now this is going to be his third contract. But he's productive. He's still productive. He's still, as crazy it is to sound, as it sounds, he's still ascending as a player. He's still getting better, even though he's 29 years old now. Again, as far as like the earth goes, 29 is not old. In NFL years, 29 is getting up there, right? But he's freaking huge. He can stop up the middle. He has some pass rush ability. We need impact players on our team. I think Dalvin Tomlinson can be that. He won't break the bank. So even if we do it for a short term, we can kind of do like maybe a 2-year thing, prove it type of thing, and extend them after the first year, not only to give us maybe a little salary cap flexibility in the second year, but also if he does well, we can extend him a little bit longer because, bigger defensive linemen, if they show they still got the juice, they can still play into their early 30s. So Dalvin Tomlinson is the first one. James Bradberry is the second one. Cool things about James Bradberry. Again, still an ascending player. James Bradberry is not super young, but he's not old. Highly productive. Knows Patrick Graham's system. Was developed in Patrick Graham's system. Got traded away to Philly and really blossomed there in that scheme. Knows what works for him. He's got good coaching in the past. I think these two guys are going to be a really good fit for us. So just to recap, Jesse Bates III at safety for $2, Dalvin Tomlinson defensive tackle, and James Bradberry cornerback for $1 a piece. These guys are going to be not the top end of the market at the position. They're going to be a little pricey, not in the top end, but they're still productive players. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for guys on the descent. We're looking for guys who are like plateauing, still doing slightly ascending, not super old, good players, can plug and play and ready to rock. Okay? That's what we got. So we got $1 left. All right? We're looking good. Now, we're going to go with our 50-cent level. Now, we got $1 left, so we can sign 2 guys. Okay, don't kill me. Okay, this is the list that I was given. So out of the list that I was given, this is what I'm going to sign. So I can sign 2 50-cent guys. My 2 50-cent guys are David Long Jr., the linebacker, and Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Okay, why would I choose Baker? I'm gonna just start with everyone's pulling their freaking hair out, right? Why would I want Baker Mayfield? Number one, when he has an offense like we have, when he had an offense like we had, he was productive. He's got a running game. Okay, let's just stop with all this, that our offensive line is terrible, okay? Our pressure rate, okay, was like middle of the pack last year. I think it was like, we were like 15 or 16 in pressure rate, which means out of the dropbacks that the quarterback has, how many times are they pressured? We're like middle of the pack. Okay, so we're not bad. We had the leading rusher in the NFL. That's good. We have some good weapons. That's also good. We're not asking our quarterback to do too much. We're asking them to identify what the defense is. We're asking them to maybe identify some blocking schemes and what we can do better. But ultimately, your offensive coordinator, which is your head coach, Josh McDaniels, is telling you where to go with the ball. He's telling you where your progressions are. One of the issues with Baker Mayfield has been decision-making, right? If you take a lot of that away from him and tell him where to go with the ball because of the offense that you have and the weapons that you have, I don't think it's going to be a bad fit, especially short-term. This is going to be a short-term fix. Baker Mayfield, I don't see him getting a lot of money. Honestly, I don't see him and Jimmy G having too big of a difference in production. Can they both be productive quarterbacks in the NFL? Of course. Are they long-term fixes? No, they are not long-term fixes. Okay? These are the stopgap quarterbacks. You're going to get someone in who has played in the NFL, who knows what the F they're doing, and they're not going to the lights are not going to be too big for them. Okay. Highly competitive quarterback. He's got a little bit of a stain on his name, but you know what? He works good in the system when he has weapons around him, which we do have here. Maybe he's been a little bit humbled by his career shift, right? He's still competitive, and I think he can do a good job for us. Okay. All right. Now, on to David Long. David Long, again, just like Jesse Bates, he's 26-year-old linebacker ascending. He's getting better and better every year. The more snaps he gets, the better he gets. Unfortunately, did he get injured last year, which is part of the reason why he's on this bucket. He's in the lowest bucket because he did get injured last year at the end of the year. He only played 12 games. That works out well for us. Get him back. Make sure he's healthy. He's good against the pass. He's good against the run. Again, 26-year-old ascending player. We can get him on the cheap. I think it's going to be a great addition. A lot cheaper, a lot more versatile, a lot more flexible than Denzel Perryman. Don't get me wrong. I love Denzel Perryman. He's a freaking man. He's hilarious. He's a freaking hammer. He's not that great in pass coverage. He gives up a lot of yardage. He gives a high rating whenever he's thrown at. I think that David Long Jr., the linebacker, is going to be a much better upgrade at a lot better price than Denzel Perryman is going to ask for. All right, guys. Before we get to the mock draft, let's go in and see what you guys think. Let's see here. Oh my God, yeah. Baker Mayfield. Oh my God. Yeah, look. We knew what was going to happen. Hey, and Isaac Heron Sr. I'd rather have to. There's no reason why we can't re-sign Stidham as well. Okay. I am not of the opinion that we need to move up in this draft to pick a quarterback. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, brothers and sisters. If right now Arizona's getting their freaking phone blown up like fucking crazy, okay? They're the only out of the there's 4 main quarterbacks in this draft, okay? Out of those selections, we have 3 of the top 4 teams in the NFL are looking for quarterbacks. Simone's going to want to hop into that number 3 spot, which is Arizona. Carolina's at 1, they're taking a quarterback. Houston at 2, taking a quarterback. Indy at 4, taking a quarterback. Now, that positions, they may switch, right? Houston may jump into 1. I've heard a lot that Houston wants to get into that 1 spot to get their guy. Who their guy is going to be, I don't know. But I think that maybe Indy is like, okay, I can jump into that 4 spot. I can jump into that 1 spot from 4, and it's a good position for the Panthers to be in if they like multiple people, right? But that number 3 pick, I'm telling you right now, I am like 97% sure that number 3 pick is going to get dealt, okay? If that number 3 pick gets dealt, and you're Indy at number 4 left holding your freaking balls, you're like, okay, well, I get the leftovers of what everybody else doesn't want. I'm not sure that after going year after year after year, Jim Irsay's going to want to do that. After he freaking puts the crack pipe down, he's going to be like, dude, what the heck is going on? We had number 4 pick, now we get the 4th best quarterback. Instead of the 4th best player, we got stuck with the 4th best quarterback. We don't have to spend all this draft capital to move up because we can get a serviceable veteran quarterback to play just as well as our quarterback, maybe even better. I'm not sure who we had last year, okay? Now, here's what I'm saying. We build our roster this year. If a quarterback falls to us at 7, by whatever grace of God that happens, take him, right? If a guy that you like falls to you at 7, take him. No biggie. Let's do it, right? But if someone's not there that you want, or if nobody's there, just hold pat or trade back a little bit, and you can always go for one next year. You can always be the Carolina of next year and go and get in one of those primo spots to get a guy. There's going to be like 5 legit, maybe even more depending on whoever wants to go out and whoever shows out. And we can even get one in the middle round. I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser. I didn't select a quarterback in this draft, but we can always get one next year because we have service. So we can get guys that could play. We can get guys that can come in there and play. All right. All righty. So this is what we're going to do. First, we're going to go with hide that thing. And we're going to hide that thing. All right. This is my mock draft 3.0. Mock draft 3.0. Okay. Let me get a little bit of water because I've been screaming freaking head off. All right. My first order of business in the draft is a trade. Here's my trade. I trade this number 7 pick to Philadelphia for their number 10 pick, a 2024 third round pick, and defensive back Darius Big Play Slay. All right. What does that do for us? We get more draft capital. Okay. So we get still a top 10 pick this year. We add a third round pick next year. Why is that so important? That third round pick next year can either soften the blow of us maybe having to trade up and trading back and trading out of some picks, or we can use that pick in a package to trade up if we need to trade up in the first round. Okay, that makes sense. Also, we are filling a position of need in the defensive backfield. Darius Big Play Slay. So here's the deal. Remember what I said. If the player does not fit your ideal, if he doesn't fit your mold, and my mold is young, highly productive, athletic playmakers. That's what I want, right? Okay. Darius Slay, not so young. But what did I also say? If he doesn't fit your mold, he better walk on water. And I'll tell you something right now. Darius Slay, maybe he doesn't walk on water, but he's pretty damn freaking close to doing it. Okay? So, again, Darius Slay, highly productive, great leader, smart. He's like a coach on the field, right? Sets the tone in the secondary. He's played at a high level. So now, after free agency, okay, you got Bradbury. And remember that. We already said in free agency, we signed Bradbury, and then we traded for Slay. So we put those two pieces and with Jesse Bates in our secondary. And so that looks a whole lot better than it did, right? You added Bradbury. You added Slay. You added Bates. That's another reason why you don't blow your wad in free agency, because if you make a trade, I would suggest that if we do, because Slay has 1 year left on his deal. I think he's 31 or 32 this year. That's okay. He's still a highly productive player. Maybe you extend him and on the contract to soften the blow for the cap hit the next couple of years. We can definitely do that. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see here. Okay, questions. This is a good question. Jalen Ramsey just left to the Dolphins for a third. Why would the Eagles add their third? Well, because they're also getting back a first-round pick. They're getting back a number 7 pick. That's huge. Even trading from 10 to 7 is still big. And the thing is we're also taking out their cap space. Okay. All right. So that's the trade before the draft. Okay. So now look at our secondary now. Bates, Bradbury, Slay, Hobbs, Amik Robertson. That's what we have right now. Okay. Not freaking bad. Okay. And we're not breaking the bank either. Okay. All right. So that's before the draft. Okay. See, this is why RJ does all this shit. He's so much better at like fooling with all this crap. I always forget, and I'm talking about something else, and the comments are still on the bottom of the screen. Okay. First pick that we picked, number 10 pick in the first round. We are selecting Peter Skoronski, tackle guard. Well, he's listed as a tackle, but tackle or guard from Northwestern. Okay. What do I like? I like productive. I like young. I like athletic. That's what I like. Okay. So here we go. Shore up the offensive line. We did a lot of good in the secondary, right? We got ourselves a functional quarterback that can play well. They're not a super high ceiling, but as long as we keep weapons and a good team around him and keep him upright, he can be productive for us, okay? This is part of that. Keeping our quarterback upright, doing a better job of keeping him safe, keeping the pocket clean around him. That's where Peter Skoronsky comes in. Highly athletic, incredibly smart, hard worker. Everything you want an offensive lineman, he's got. Okay, natural ability to be a leader, a captain on his team. I know that was one thing that Gruyak really loved, but this guy was actually also a highly productive player as well. He's got strong technique, good footwork. He's got a solid anchor and pass protection. He's not going to get bowled over. Good movement on double teams. He can move to the point of attacking the second level. He fights for blocks. He fights for them. Okay, that's what we want to see in a young offensive lineman. Some of the opportunities that Skoronsky has, his arms are too short. That's what people say. His arms are too short to play tackle in the NFL. Look at Christian Darrisaw. He's got a little shorter arms too, and he's doing okay. But I think Skoronsky's arms are even shorter than that. Struggles to latch on to rushers. So he doesn't, if you guys remember the old Khalil Mack move, he would bend around the edge and he would just stick his long arm right in the middle of their chest because he's so strong. And the offensive lineman couldn't rip the arm down and couldn't latch on to Mack. That can happen to Skoronsky quite a bit because his arms are a little bit shorter, and defenders can get into his chest before he gets his hands on him. He can struggle blocking the backside and second levels because of the angles he takes. That can be corrected with coaching, and a blocking scheme can be a little bit different. But I've seen it actually myself on tape where he goes to the second level to block, and he turns around, and defenders just run right by him. So we can fix that. So I don't think that's a huge deal. He just lacks the length to play a tackle, but I don't mind drafting him to be a freaking Pro Bowl guard for years to come. Okay. So here's the deal, man. You trade back, you add an extra pick in next year's draft, you add a leader and a productive player in your secondary, and you still get your guy. Like, fucking hey, man, that works for me. Okay. I'm going to take some of your comments right now. Isaac Heron, Slay is a baller, but a little old, a little too old, I think you're trying to say, for the contract. But Bradbury, I'm with it. Yeah, man, look, you got to take the good with the bad, man, sometimes. And, like I said, if he doesn't fit your mold, young, productive playmakers, young athletic playmakers, excuse me, you better walk on water. And like I said, Slay is pretty damn close to doing that. He can be a highly productive player in your secondary for years to come in the safety spot. All righty. Javier Anaya. In that case, we should trade for our 7th for Eagles for 10 and 30 first rounders. Draft Christian Gonzalez a lot cheaper. Okay, who's to say Christian Gonzalez is going to be there at 10? Christian Gonzalez may not get past 6 with Detroit. When I selected, he wasn't there. Okay, so again, that's all well and good. You could throw out all these names, but it doesn't mean they're going to be there when you pick, especially not be there at 10. I doubt he's going to be there at 10. All right. Our next pick is going to be in round 2, number 38. And I selected, God damn it. You see, this is why I need RJ here to freaking clean up all this mess for me. Okay. Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. Again, building that young secondary. You cannot have too many corners. You cannot have too strong a secondary. This is a passing league. You need to have a strong secondary. Okay? Get that into your head, guys. You need to have a strong secondary to win in the NFL. Because if your guys don't get home, even if your guys do get home, if you have a mobile quarterback out there who's going to want to sling the pill all over the place, you need to have guys that can make plays down the field. You need to have guys that can cover for long periods of time. You need to have guys that make plays. Emmanuel Forbes is that. Elite physical traits. Dude runs like a 4.3, 540. It's like almost a 40-inch vertical, like a 37-inch vertical. Broad jump is almost 11 feet. He's got super long arms. His arms are almost as long as Skoronsky's. Okay? Highly productive. Dude had 6 pick sixes in college. Okay, this dude is highly productive. What are we looking for? Highly productive young players, right? That's what we want. Athletic. Great in press. He dominates 50-50 balls, man. With his jumping ability and his long arms, you throw a 50-50 ball, it's going to be a legit 50-50 ball. Not like when you throw a Devontae one, it's going to be like a 90-10. Like he's going to get it 90% of the time. Nah, this is going to be a legit guy who's going to be able to knock some of those down. Great hands, good ability after catch. He's got speed. He can freaking make shit happen. You see it when the 6 pick sixes in college. Despite his size, he's a little bit smaller. He's real light. He's eager tackler against the run. He gets up there and he puts his nose down and he tackles in college. Okay, opportunities. We know what the issue is with him. If he was like 15, 20 pounds heavier, he would be a lock first round pick. But he's small. He's like 170 pounds or something like that. He's a smaller guy. We've seen players of his stature do well and ascend as they get bigger, as their body matures a little bit, as they put on more weight, and they're able to keep their speed. Now, where he is right this second, okay, he probably will get out-muscled quite a bit by bigger wide receivers, and for either getting off a press or maybe yards after catch, stuff like that. He's not going to be able to just hit and stop somebody right then and there. He may get dragged for a yard or two. Those are things that we're going to have to live with, okay? He needs to be more disciplined, recognizing route combinations and taking angles to ball. Now, if you need to recognize route combinations and you need to take better angles to the ball and you need to learn how to play as a smaller defensive back, Darius Slay is not 200 pounds, okay? Darius Slay is like 190, 195 pounds. He's a leader out there. He can teach your young guys not only how to take care of their minds, their bodies, but also take care of business on the field. So that's another reason why you want a leader like Darius Slay in your backfield. In your defensive backfield. I think it's a great pick. Again, athletic, playmaker, productive. That's what we want. That's what we're getting with Emmanuel Forbes with our second round pick. All righty, here we go. With our next pick, it's going to be the third round, number 70. I selected, I don't know how to say his name, Whippler, Luke Whippler, center out of Ohio State. This dude is a super, uber athletic center. Now, you say, oh, we have James, we have Parham. Look, man, I don't know that James is going to be there. Andre James is going to be there. I'm trying to get the best players I can, right? And have them fight it out in camp. And if he's a late cut, if Andre James is a late cut, he's a late cut. Doesn't necessarily mean that Parham has to move to center. He could play at guard. But, man, Luke Whippler, I'm going to say Whippler. Luke Whippler, dude is freaking athletic. He can move. He's like 6'3", 300 pounds, so he's not a small guy. And he's definitely the leader of that offensive line at Ohio State. I don't care what anyone says, Paris Johnson, all these other guys. No, Luke Whippler was the leader last year. He plays great with his hands, and he has got quick hands and feet, good pass blocking, good run blocking, just as good, moving as anchoring. Like, dude is freaking solid. Has a mean streak to him. He seeks out defenders to block in the second levels. He plays through the whistle. This is what you're looking for in an offensive lineman. Okay, some of the things he needs to work on. He gets a little bit punchy with smaller defenders. So like linebackers, defensive backs, blitzers, stuff like that. He tends to punch and not latch on, and that causes him to get beat a little bit. Now, he does recover because he has good feet and balance, but he's going to need to learn to latch on to those guys, the smaller, quicker guys at the second level, because I'm telling you something, these small, quicker guys in the NFL, they pack just as big a punch as linemen do, okay? At times, I've seen him duck his head and run blocking, causing him to lose balance, or he can maybe get up a little bit too high sometimes in pass blocking, again, causing him to lose balance. These are all technique issues that can all be fixed, okay? He does lack ideal strength and arm length as far as upper body strength goes, but again, he's played really well with it at the highest level of college against the highest level of competition on the defensive line. I don't see that being an issue. We had an issue with a similar issue with Parham. We're like, oh, he's not physically strong enough and blah, 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 and this and that. He did just fine. I would hate passing on a player like Luke Whippler because he's a little bit not as strong. His arms aren't as long. When we passed on Christian Darrisaw because his arms weren't that long, and dude's a freaking Pro Bowl or all-pro tackle, we ended up getting Neverwood, and that guy was a freaking physical monster and couldn't play. Okay, this dude, Luke Whippler, can be your starting center day one, save you some money off the cap, Keep Parham at guard. You got yourself a nice young nucleus with Whippler, Skoronski, and Parham, along with Miller and whoever you can get to play the other tackle. That's a nice, strong offensive line for years to come. See what you guys think. James is getting cut. Yeah. Parham moving to center. I think he can right now. He can. But if we could draft a guy that's just as good playing center or even better playing center and keep Parham at guard, I like that Skoronski, Whippler, Parham interior. Nice and young, athletic, smart, heady blockers. I think it's a good deal for us. Okay, here we go. 4th round pick, number 119. Actually, before we do that, we have another trade. Okay, why did I do this? I wanted to show you what can happen if we stay active in the trade market mid-draft. Is it sexy? Is it appealing? Not really, but you can get a lot of good deals doing middle of the draft trade. So what we did was we sent our 109th pick in the 4th round and a 203rd pick to Minnesota. In return, we got pick 119, so we dropped back 10 spots. We got 119, 159, and 176. I think that's a great deal for us. We give away 2 and get back 3. I think it's a win-win for both. In this draft, the Vikings ended up taking Zach Evans, running back out of Ole Miss, who's a freaking stud. Dalvin Cook is on the trade block. He may get traded. Maybe want to get a little bit younger, a little bit cheaper at that position. Zach Evans could definitely be that guy. That's why this all made sense. Okay, so behind us in this draft at number 110 was Atlanta. Again, Atlanta may want to get a running back as well. So this is why this all made sense. This is why I did it. We traded our number 109 and 203 to Minnesota, got back 119, 159, and 176. Now we have more draft capital. We gained a pick, and they're all much higher picks than the one we gave up in 203. We only dropped back 10 spots in the 4th round. That's not too bad. Okay, with our 119th pick, I selected safety Ronnie Hickman out of the Ohio State University. Okay. Again, you can never have too many defensive backs. People get hurt, and you want to be able to get quality guys in there. Instead of getting these Averets and these bargain basement guys to come in, you're going to have these young rookie guys come in, and you're going to be able to teach them with guys like Bradbury and Bates and Hobbs and Slay. These guys are going to be able to really, we're building a really nice secondary here. This is how you can turn things around quickly. You get the nice mix of veterans, you keep the guys you have, and you bring in fresh, young, talented players, okay? Ideal size for safety in Hickman is athleticism, toughness. He can cover tight ends. He can cover big receivers in the slot. This dude can do that shit. Fluid movement skills. He's got good speed, smart. He got good ball skills as well. This dude's an impact player, man. He's a big-time blitzer. He's got skills to create turnovers. That's what we're looking for in a younger guy. If you have some issues in your game, the things that you do well, you better do really well. And Hickman is definitely that. He's an impact player. He's good on the blitz. He's going to create turnovers, tip balls. He's going to be able to handle mistakes by quarterbacks and create turnovers. Here's the issues with Hickman. And again, these issues are correctable with coaching. You're going to have a good coaching staff behind you. You're going to have great coaches and players on the field with you. This is why we take players like this. Sometimes Hickman hesitates. He doesn't always trust what he sees, and he allows catches in front of him. Now, what happens is, of course, you allow more catches, but also if you hesitate a little bit, you may want to give up ground and get a little bit grabby. He's not super grabby, but he has played through people before and gets penalties at times. So he has to understand a better, concept of route combinations. Again, when you have Bradbury and Bates and Slay and those guys in the backfield, Hobbs, like they're going to be able to help you with that as well as your coaches. So I don't see a big deal with that. He wants to deliver the big hit because he's a freaking missile, bro. He wants to deliver that huge hit. Sometimes doesn't wrap up and guys bounce off of his tackle, especially in the NFL with some of these beasts they have out there running the ball. Not a smart idea. I do like the wrap up technique to get him to the ground, but he does create turnovers. He does create fumbles. He's a freaking missile. I think it's a good pick for us at 119. This is the second time I selected Hickman in a mock draft because he's sitting there and it's like, dude, super productive in college, played in a good system, played against great competition. The dude's a freaking playmaker. He has his issues, but these are issues that you can correct. That's why he's in the 4th round. That's why you get players like Slay and Bates and Bradbury and Hobbs. That's why you keep those type of veteran players in your defensive backfield so they can help these young guys grow, and you build that strong, like, just impenetrable defense in the second level or the third level, excuse me. He's got super good range and coverage skills. He's a high floor player. If you correct these mistakes, technical mistakes, if you correct, how he identifies route combination and what he sees, and get him to act a little bit more instinctively instead of thinking too much sometimes, he can develop into a strong starter quickly. All right, see what you guys think about this. Let's see here. No, not too much about what's going on here. Okay, all right. Next pick. All righty, pick number 142. Dorian Williams, linebacker out of Tulane. Now, being a USC fan, I saw this dude intimately. I saw this dude up close and personal in the bowl game. God, that was terrible. But Dorian Williams played a good game. Okay, we already got Long Jr. for a linebacker spot. We still have a Divine Diablo. Perriman was let go, so we do need some. We have the guys that we had last year, the undrafted free agents. They were undrafted free agents for a reason. They did a good job playing and everything, and that's fine. But you need to have better playmakers there, guys that can fill and play special teams roles. We're getting later in the 5th round right now. These are players that are going to fill the back end of your team that can eventually turn into starters. They're going to you're going to draft these guys. What are we looking for? Young, inexpensive, athletic playmakers. You can teach them. You can show them the way. Okay, dude. Dorian Williams, sideline player. He tracks the ball, drags down ball carriers, right? Like a heat-seeking missile, violent wrap-up hitter. He's got, he's long, he's muscular, he's a really good athlete. He's got really good awareness playing zone coverage, so I think it's a good kind of a compliment to Long as far as linebackers go. He's in that same mold, long, rangy, fast linebackers that we have, along with Diablo and Long in this case when we pick him in free agency. We're also going to have Dorian Williams in there. Couple things. He needs to be more consistent in his tape. He's inexperienced at the position. I think he was a safety in high school more often, and also maybe his freshman year. He thinks a lot. He doesn't play instinctually. He needs to develop better. So he needs to put on a little bit more muscle. I think he's in the low 220s, maybe put on a little bit more, 10, 15 pounds of muscle. His pass rush technique isn't great, but we can develop that pass rush moves. You just need one move and a counter move, especially at linebacker when you're not like put on the edge all the time, when you're like maybe more of an inline linebacker. Definitely someone that we can work with. His pursuit angles aren't great. He needs to clean those up for sure. But again, that's why you have him play special teams. That's why you coach him up in practice. Kind of a tweener body, like a safety linebacker body right now, but he's got linebacker hitting ability, okay? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for traits that we can grow with. Very similar to Divine Diablo, where he was a tweener guy, but he had the mentality. He learned. He came in. He was our best linebacker his rookie year. He's grown every season. He's improved every season. That's what we want players on the ass end. I think it's going to be a good player for us. I'm not going to spend too much time on these later picks because, a lot of you guys don't do a ton of homework. That's what we're here for, right? Okay, our next pick, 3 picks later, at pick 145 in the 5th round, I picked Kobe Turner, defensive tackle from Wake Forest. Dude, this guy is motor, right? He's not huge. He's about 6'1", 6'2", maybe 285. A little bit smaller on the defensive tackle side. But dude is aggressive, super strong, super high motor. He's going to be able to get a lot of tackles for you because this guy does not quit, okay? No quit in this guy. Has a nice burst to close the gap between ball carriers, whether it be the quarterback or a running back with the ball. And he fires through the ball carrier, man. He's a good tackler. He's got NFL strength and power already. Walking in day one to the NFL, he's got that strength and power that you're looking for. Good, strong core, not going to get bowled over, right? He's good in the short yardage game because he's a little bit short and get underneath those offensive linemen, and he's super strong and heady player. The issues that we have with him is he's not super quick. He doesn't have that like lateral quickness where he's going to be able to juke you and do a lot of those moves, like let's say an Aaron Donald. Who else is Aaron Donald, right? But we can teach him some technique, clean up the technique a little bit better. It can make you quick, right? Not a super burner. He can miss plays running from behind if he gets maybe he's off the ball or the ball goes away from him or a screen. He's not going to be able to chase him down from behind too often just because he doesn't have that top end speed that you're looking for out of a defensive tackle to do that. He's super strong, but again, lateral quickness is not great. Here's the thing about Turner. Turner almost has it all, right? If he was quicker and faster, he would be like a day 2 pick. Easy. Like a second, third round pick. No problem. But this is what you get in the 5th round. You get players who are really good at some things, and other things are either or they're not good at all. I wouldn't say he's not good at all, his quickness, but he's just quickness-wise. But in the 5th round, when you need depth at that position, either special teams-wise or you're looking at guys that can give you depth and maybe develop as a defensive tackle, I think Kobe Turner is going to be the way to go for us at pick 145. All right, because we traded, we got to pick 159, and I pick Dennis Allen, tight end from Clemson. We just re-signed Jesper Horsted, and we have Darren Waller. We need to have a third tight end, okay? Good thing about Davis Allen, he's a good blocker. He's a tall kid, about 6'5", maybe about 235, 240, a little bit slight, but dude's aggressive, high-effort blocker. He's not going to quit on a block. He's going to latch on and drive. He's got good long arms, a really good catch radius. He's really good at the toe tap on the edges. So if you do a speed out or a quick, an out or anything like that's like at the goal line or anything like that, he's a good target to have. He's nice and big, long arms, a good target. He's good at high pointing the ball, so he can be a good red zone target for you. Now, again, when you're in the 5th round, you're going to have things that people do really well and things that maybe people aren't great at. What is he not great at? He's not great at tracking balls that are over his shoulder, which if you're a tight end, you don't do that all that often. You're going to do a lot of over the middle stuff. Any of the stuff deep is probably going to be 50-50 type ball anyway. So I don't see that being a huge deal. He's not super fast. And he's not super athletic. He's just solid. If we can improve some of his technique route running wise, I think we can get a real steal here in the 5th round. We just happen to have a couple of guys on our team, pretty good route runners in their own right, in Waller and in Tay and in Renfro. I think they can help him with that. Also, he needs to improve his route tree. He wasn't really asked to run a lot of routes, a lot of stop routes, a lot of option routes, a lot of out and speed stuff, a lot of 50-50, high point balls. So I think we can help him with this, though. Definitely. Solid player, nothing special, really good hands, really good catch radius. Something that you need and someone that you can develop, like a Jesper Horsted. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. We just re-signed him. I think it's going to be in the model of that, in the mode of that. And if he develops a little bit quicker than we thought, he can be a really good, solid player for us early. Okay, here we go. Next pick, number 175 in the 5th round. I picked Cam Jones, linebacker from Indiana. This dude is a blitzing monster. You can blitz him in the linebacker spot. The dude gets home. He's a heavy hitter. He's good with change of direction versus the run. If he gets beat initially, if you're doing maybe a misdirection play, this guy is a good change of direction guy. He's going to be a big player, hitting the downfield, hitting the line of scrimmage, and also tackles for loss. Got good speed to close on the quarterback or the ball carrier. Movement skills to play in zone coverage are really good. Again, you have a young, athletic playmaker who has some issues now because we're in the 5th round. These aren't locked starters right away. These are guys that you want to develop. These are guys that you want to use their skills on special teams, downhill, good blocker, good lateral skills that you want. That's what you want in special teams, right? Also, they have things they need to work on. Similar to a lot of players in the 5th round, they do some things really well. some things that are like, need to work on a lot. This is what Cam Jones needs to work on. Cam Jones, when he's not covered up, he's not great. He needs to be covered up. He needs to be like in the middle of the field and blitzing through to the line of scrimmage with his defensive line in front of him. He's not going to be one of those guys up front or right away. He's going to be able to say, all right, just blitz him off the end, off the corner, him against the tackle or whatever. He's not that guy, not yet at least. He needs to be covered up to be successful. Think of like Corey Littleton. When we had Corey Littleton, right? He was a gangbuster with the Rams because he had that defensive line. I mean, he had Sue, he had freaking Aaron Donald in front of him. He had all those guys in front of him. Yeah, he's one of those guys. If you occupy blockers in front of him, he can go downhill and make plays happen, right? He can also read the quarterback because he knows he's not going to get a lot of mud around his feet and be able to move freely, and he could be better in pass coverage. He came to us, he didn't have that type of playmakers in front of him, and his play wasn't that great. This is very similar to that, where we need to keep players in front of him. But we got players like Kobe, we got players like Tomlinson, we got Max, we got Jones, we got other guys in front of him. I think we're going to be okay to build this defensive line to help Jones. Now, if he doesn't play right away, doesn't get a lot of snap right away, that's fine. He's going to be a core special teamer to begin with while we develop him. All right. Okay, moving on. We got another pick, 3 picks later. This is why I like trading back, because you get a lot of picks later in the draft and you fill out your roster, okay? We have here Mekhi Blackman, cornerback out of USC. I had to pick an SC guy. Andrew Voorhees, unfortunately, tore his ACL. It's a guy that I got in my last mock draft, so he's probably not going to get drafted or get drafted really late. It's going to be a really big steal when somebody does. But Mekhi Blackman, this dude is a press man beast. He's aggressive. He's got all the physical tools you're looking for to be a strong man coverage player. He's got really good fluid movement, speed, and quickness. Cover outside, cover the slot. This guy can do it all. Nice and smooth, easy. He makes plays in space. He's a good tackler in space when he gets his head up and when he breaks down. This is the type of things you're looking for that are going to be good for special teams, but also you can develop this player into the future to be a solid starter for you down the line. Okay, some of the things about Blackman that we need to work on is he's not super physical, okay? He's aggressive with his hands, but he can get out physicaled a lot by bigger wide receivers. And if he plays, in the NFL, you're going to play against some bigger wide receivers and even some small ones that are really strong and aggressive as well. Causes them to lose sometimes at the line of scrimmage on routes or to get latched onto and blocked in the run game. Excuse me. Not a very willing tackler. He approaches tackling kind of like, okay, this is something I have to do. But we can teach that. We can teach technique to help break down, wrap up, and wait for your team to come and help you, right? And he's unsure at times attacking the line of scrimmage. I think it's because he would rather play out and play in coverage, but unfortunately, there's a lot of short passes right now in the NFL. Also, the running game, the screen game, you see a lot of that. If you're identified as somebody who is not a willing tackler, you're going to get picked on in the NFL. All right. Next pick in the 6th round, pick number 213. I couldn't believe he was still there. If he's still there and we can get this kid at 213, I'm going to be doing freaking backflips. Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. This dude is a beast. He's only about 205, 210 pounds, about 5'11". He's not huge, but this guy is violent, okay? He's got burst to bust through tacklers. He's got balance. He's got power. He's got speed. He's best in space. You get him a ball in space, dude's going to make shit happen. Screen game, excellent. Toss plays, excellent. Outside little short hitches, excellent. This guy can do it. He's got decent hands, okay? He can catch balls, but he can run in between the tackles too because he's very violent. That's not his game, though. His game is more outside the tackles, okay? Even though he's a similar height as Josh Jacobs is a little bit bigger than him. So he's not that kind of guy. He's more of the Amir Abdullah type guy who can be definitely a weapon for us because we did sign Amir Abdullah. We still want to get younger, right? Okay. Not a great route runner. That all can also be taught, okay? Again, He doesn't get a lot of separation in his routes, making him hard to be a target because, again, he's not a receiver. He's not super tall. He's not used to, climbing over defenders to catch balls. His physicality in the running game doesn't translate to pass protection, and that's a big issue. That's one of the reasons why Amir Abdullah keeps getting jobs, is because he's a decent player. He's a player that has a lot of, a specific type of skill set, but he's pretty good at pass protection as well, and that's what you need to do. But again, a core special teamer who has really good skills, a really good mentality, a really hard, tough-nosed player, played against really good competition, productive player in college, where we can mold into a good player moving forward. That's what you want in these later rounds. All right. Next pick. This is also going to be a steal. He's available at 221 in the 7th round. Javarius Owens, safety out of Houston. This dude is a freaking ball hawk. Even when he's not targeted, he'll find a way to get. He knows how to find the ball. He's aggressive and explosive. He finds his nose. He's always nose around the ball. That's the kind of guy you want late. You want to take one of these guys, again, athletic, productive, good head on his shoulders, tough-nosed player. He played in a good system. He played against good competition. That's what you want in these later rounds. Do they have things they need to work on? Yes, of course, everyone does. To this extent, yes. You're getting him in the 7th round. This is a highly productive player, a young player in your secondary that you can get in the 7th freaking round. You got to go for it. And if all else fails, he's a core special teams guy for you for years to come. You don't have to pay him a ton of money. This guy's going to be able to get it. Man, if we get younger, if we get more athletic, and we get more playmakers on our team, that's what we're looking for, right? Super aggressive. Some of the issues that he has. Angles in pass coverage, how he always finds his nose on the ball in pass coverage, doesn't translate to run. He takes bad angles against the run, and he gets burned sometimes. So again, when you have nice, strong veteran leadership in your secondary, you're going to be able to teach some of those angles, right? Which is why we're getting these guys that are maybe a little bit overpriced, a little bit older, but still productive, because they can help teach the players. Think of when we got Woodson back. He wasn't the Woodson that he used to be. He was a step slower or two. He cost a little bit more than we wanted to pay, but guess what? He taught the secondary. Same thing here. I think Javarius Owens is going to be a steal pick in the 7th round. There's no reason why he should be there. I was surprised he was there. He was there, and I freaking snatched him up, okay? His tackling technique needs to improve. We need to make sure that we teach him how to tackle wrap up down to the ground. This can all be fixed with technique, guys. I am not selecting players that don't have the physical tools and playmaking ability. I'm selecting players that are athletic, who are productive, who we can teach better technique, and then it's going to make them much better players. Let's see what we're saying here. You guys are just going back and forth. All right, here we go. Last pick. Pretty little-known player. Servasi. I think his name is Servasi. Servasi Dennis. When I was watching old film for like Jordan Addison and stuff like that, because I was, I wanted to watch some old film from USC, a USC player when he was with Pitt, when he was with Kenny Pickett. I watched some of the defensive snaps, and Servasi Dennis at a linebacker spot. Good, solid player, man. Playmaker, strong push through traffic, explosive first step. Excellent tracker of the ball in space. Another sideline to sideline guy like Cam Jones takes the ball down well. He's better in zone coverage when he can read the quarterback's eyes. Again, he's really good going downhill, and when he can see things happening in front of him. He lacks a little bit of discipline, eye discipline. At times he can get fooled. He likes to see the play develop around him, and he's very instinctual, where he'll go downhill and with his quick first step, but he can be susceptible to misdirection plays. Doesn't have the real lateral quickness that you're looking for. He can run side to sideline, but shifting back and forth, not the greatest. Again, very similar to Cam Jones. If he's not covered up, he's not great one-on-one with an offensive lineman blitzing or being a pass rusher. Not yet, at least. Again, we have those guys already to pass rush. We don't need to line up one of our linebackers in pass rush mode. Very similar to Cam Jones, maybe not as athletic, maybe a little bit more physical than Cam Jones, not as athletic as Cam Jones, but still a really good player. Not You don't want to put him one-on-one against a tackle. He's not going to win that matchup. Okay, he needs to work on his strength and be a more diverse player, right? If he does that, this guy can develop into a freaking steal at 7. Again, I'm going to say it over and over again. Worst case scenario, he's a sure tackler. This kid can be a core special teams guy. You need core special team players. Not every player that you have is going to be a starting player. You need rotational guys. You need backup guys in case players get hurt. And when you do bring those guys up, you need to be able to have some skills to build off of. I think Servasi Dennis has that. Smooth movement and good tackling ability. A huge asset day one in special teams. That's what you're looking for this late in the draft. All righty. What are we seeing here? So look, what do we do here? In this whole free agency game and mock draft that we did, we shored up a couple of positions that needed to be shored up, right? Our offensive line got shored up. How did we do that? We drafted Skoronski. We drafted Whippler, okay? We still have a need at right tackle. We did sign Brandon fucking Parker. Look, man, Brandon Parker was supposed to be our starting right tackle last year, okay? Can he improve? He did really well the last year he played. The last couple of games, he played a lot better. Dude, I don't know too many people who are super fucking pumped about their right tackle. I don't know too many teams that are super jazzed about their right tackle. Whatever happens on the corner and the right tackle, there's now Illuminor and Parker out there. Okay, fine. But in the interior and on the left side, you're going to have Miller, Parham, Whippler, and Skoronski. That is a pretty damn good offensive line. All right? Okay, so we have that on offensive line. We got our playmakers that we're looking for. We added a running back. We added a tight end to bring depth, youth, and to fill out our roster. I think those are going to be good pickups. We got in Gray and Allen, we got guys that can make plays, who are used to making plays at a high level, productive, athletic guys who can bring something to the table, active blockers in Allen and tight end, like a Jesper Horsted. We can go ahead and kind of push him forward and develop him, okay? Defense. What has been our Achilles heel for the longest time? It's been our secondary. Our secondary has not been good. Turnovers have not been good. Excuse me. Most of the time when you talk turnovers, it's going to be interceptions. We rebuilt our secondary this offseason. We have Merrick, we have Hobbs, and we have Amik Robertson. Who do we add? We added Slade. We added Bradbury, right? That's who we added. So let's see here. And Emmanuel Forbes, and we got Javarius Owens and fucking Hickman. So we added a lot of talent to our secondary. Really good job. Now, here's the deal. This is just up until the draft. There's still that second wave of free agency after the fact. This is why you don't blow your wad in free agency in the very beginning, because there's always that second wave of free agency right after the draft. So here's what happens is you go after the big fish in the first wave of free agency. Then you fill your gaps that you didn't get in free agency, or you shore up positions on your field, on your team during the draft. Then once that's done, once you get into camp, you get late cuts, stuff like that. You can get players to fill out your roster. Hopefully you don't need to get too many impact players on the second part of free agency after the draft, but there's still some out there. Okay, so now we have with Long in a linebacker and with Divine Diablo. We also drafted a couple of linebackers, right? So look, we're getting younger. We ended up getting David Long. We have Diablo. We got Cam Jones. We got what's his name? Dennis. Oh, you see my cat back there? Fucking around. All right. So we're getting better at positions of need. Better, younger positions of need. We also got a couple of defensive tackles, one in free agency, right, in Tomlinson. And then we got one in the draft in Kobe Turner. So look, we are building this team. What do we else can we get in free agency? We can get another edge rusher. There's all the things we can do. But honestly, I think this is going to put us in a really good position moving forward. We have veteran leadership, not leadership, but veteran players that are still can be productive in the right system at quarterback. We build a strength, a weakness of our team, not to a strength in our secondary. I think it's a really good way to go. Let's see what you guys think. 5-4-1 Raider. First round pick needs to be Christian Gonzalez or defensive tackle to be paired with Crosby. Our biggest weakness is coverage and not getting interior pressure. We should take that O-line. We should not take O-line first. Okay. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I still think we did a pretty good job addressing our secondary and our defensive line. The best player available was Skoronski at 10. So I think that was a good thing to do. I mean, we're all going to have our most our preferences, but again, we're looking at the things that I'm looking at. You're looking at playmakers, productive. Yeah, man. Jalen Carter or bust. What if he's not available, man? That's the thing. Tyree Wilson. He didn't get past the Seahawks in my mock draft. Let's see, Wilson opposite Crosby, but that secondary is dope. So knock that shit out. Look, man, there's ways you can build things. I'm trying to tell you guys, just as quickly as windows of opportunity close in the NFL, they can open as well. We build this secondary for this year. I mean, if everything falls into place, like I say, we're going to have a kick-ass secondary, man. They're not going to be super expensive either. You're only really paying 2 guys. Okay. All right. So that is my time for today, everyone. I appreciate you taking this time to hear my thoughts on what I would do with the first level of free agency and in the draft. Next, after all this happens, it's probably going to be my last. I may do one more mock draft. I may do one more. After the actual free agency period, maybe a week or 2 before the draft, I may do another one. Let me know what you guys think. I might do another one if not. Okay. I want to make sure you guys all know how much I love and appreciate you guys because we can't do this without you. I know that I'm trying to be on here as much as I can for you guys, but it's difficult when you're as busy as I am, and I like to do a lot of homework. I hope you can kind of tell that I did a lot of homework on these picks. Do a lot of homework, so when I come on here, I can not just tell you what, but I can tell you why. So everyone, make sure, please, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Share it, man. Share these episodes on your social media. Share them on Twitter. Share them on Instagram. Just share, man. Share. Tell your friends. Tell football friends. Maybe they're not Raider fans. They like football. We're going to talk about football too, man. So look, we want to grow. We want to hit. My goal is to hit that 10K mark this year. I think we're almost at 6K. And we're in the middle of March. I think we can hit it. But we need you guys. We need you guys to help us out. Get the word out from the Autumn Windbags. We're trying to do our part of putting out good content for you guys, hitting those hashtags, hitting those points of interest that you guys want. So we need you guys to help us out. All right, see what we got here. Let's see here. Overall, your draft efficiency was legit. I prefer pairing a top 10 defender with Crosby. I mean, we can definitely do that. Again, we can go flip back and forth. We can definitely do that. It all depends on who's available. All depends on, like, honestly, what Mick Ziegler's thinking at the time. But, there's a couple different ways to go. I think the way that I went was actually pretty sound because we still have some young players on the outside. Hopefully Malcolm Kuntz develops a little bit more, can get some more playing time. He didn't get hardly any playing time last year. So this is going to be his last year on his contract. So I want to see a lot more stuff out of him. I will still take Voorhees in the 6th or 7th round. You can imagine getting a first round. I mean, yeah, man, whoever picks up Voorhees is going to get a freaking steal, man. Now, his injury hadn't really populated in the mock draft, so he was taken, I think, in the 3rd round. But I would have, if he was there, like instead of like Javarius Owens or like Savasi Dennis, I would have taken him in the 6th or 7th. I would totally take him then if he was there, because you put him on the shelf for a year, you get him healthy, and you're getting a solid freaking guard, a solid dude. Maybe you can move Skoronski to right tackle. Now you have yourself a nice young. Imagine that offensive line in 2024. You got Miller, Parham, Whippler, Voorhees, and Skoronski. That's a young, strong offensive line. So, yeah, man, I definitely think that he's going to be a guy we can get to late in the draft. Someone's going to get a steal on that kid, man. All right. Mr. False Info, great mock, good info, great optimism. So, yeah, man, look, here's the deal. I'm looking for Jesse Holland. Yeah, this is one thing I was talking about Voorhees going in the 4th round in mocks. I don't know if it's been triggered. I don't know how to trigger somebody being less, valuable in a mock for injury. I still think he's going to get taken in a lot of these mocks, but in reality, yeah. Recap your draft. Recap my draft. Okay. Let's see. So first, let me go ahead and tell you what I did in free agency. Okay. In free agency, I picked up Jesse Bates at safety, Dalvin Tomlinson in defensive tackle, James Bradbury at corner, Baker Mayfield at quarterback, David Long Jr. at linebacker. That's what I did in the first wave of free agency. So what did we do? We shored up our defense with Bates, Tomlinson, Bradbury, and Long, and we got a veteran, inexpensive quarterback that can run our system, has been shown to be a solid player with a good offense, which I think we have. Okay, we traded out of the number 7th pick to get the number 10 pick, to get Darius Slay from Philly, and to get Philly's 3rd round pick in 2024. Again, highly productive player in Slay. We got in that 10th pick. We got Peter Skoronski, the tackle out of Northwestern. 2nd round, we got Emmanuel Forbes, quarterback out of Mississippi State. 3rd round, we got Luke Whippler, center out of OSU. 4th round, we got Ronnie Hickman, safety out of OSU. 5th round, we got Dorian Williams, linebacker out of Tulane. Again, in the 5th, Kobe Turner, defensive tackle out of Wake Forest. 5th round again, Davis Allen, tight end out of Clemson. Last 5th round, actually, we got 2 more 5th round picks. Cam Jones, linebacker out of Indiana. Got Mekhi Blackman, corner out of USC. In the 6th round, we got a freaking steal, Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. In the 7th round, another steal, Javarius Owens, safety out of Houston. And last pick, Servasi Dennis, linebacker out of Pitt. Look, man, I think it's going to be good. I think this is something that we can work with. A lot of things that we're looking for. Again, yeah, they may pick up. That's a good observation. They're going to lose 2 corners. I think in the mock draft that I did, they picked up the kid out of Illinois. So yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to lose 2 defensive linemen too. So they can go a lot of different ways defensively. But yeah, I think them pick the player for them is more important than the picks, because they have a good team already. They need to fill those impact gaps, and I think we just need to have more impact players. But yeah, really good job, guys. Thank you for sticking around with me. I appreciate it. This went a little bit longer than I thought, but you know what? I would gladly do it for you guys. Happy daylight saving. It's now 9:15 when we're used to it being 8:15. I'm probably going to go to bed soon. But guys, appreciate you guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, like I said. And until next time, guys, peace.